everyone. Welcome back to Better Business Conversations. My name is Brittany Andrushin. I'm a business success coach with Practice Better. Today, I'm joined with Melissa Litchfield, who's going to dive into how to leverage Clubhouse for your business. So hi, Melissa. Thanks for joining us today.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so for those of you who are maybe not familiar with Melissa, she's been helping entrepreneurs market themselves online with paid and organic traffic for the past 7 years. So Melissa is the creative director and founder of Litchfield Media, a digital advertising company that helps small businesses and entrepreneurs skyrocket their impact and revenue with paid traffic. So thank you, Melissa. We are so excited to dive into this. Clubhouse is just so fresh on the scene that we're excited to learn about the new app and how to approach it as a business or entrepreneur. So I'm actually going to turn off my camera and my mic and let you take it away, and I will pop back on at the end.
Okay, perfect. All right, we're going to share screen here. Awesome. I'm going to put it in present mode so everyone can see. All right, and we're going to dive right in. So this is I call it the Clubhouse Connection Workshop. So we're going to learn all about Clubhouse today and how to leverage it for your business. A little bit about me. So I'm not a complete stranger. I am actually a San Diego native, but I am married to a military man. He is a Coast Guard rescue helicopter pilot. He's a very driven man and daredevil. I'm also a mom to Madeline. She's 4 years old now. Gotta lend me some wine, especially in the summer when it's hot, some rosé. I also love to cook and travel, obviously when we're not in a pandemic. So that's my little family. They're so cute. We currently live in Savannah right now, Savannah, Georgia. So as you know, being a military family, we move around quite a lot. A little bit about me professionally, though, why you can trust me. So I own a multi-six-figure advertising agency. I've also personally seen tremendous results on Clubhouse, not just for myself, but for my clients. So I've been helping my clients learn the platform ever since December, late December when I got on. I was eagerly waiting for an invite for like a month and finally got on. And I'm dedicated to everyone's success in the app. So I truly believe there's room for everybody. So first we're going to go into basically an overview of the app, right? Like what are the terms? Where can I find things? You kind of get like a crash course on just how to use the app. And then we're going to go into actually leveraging it for business. So first things first, when you first open the app, you'll see the hallway, which is like the main feed of the actual app. And that's where you'll see like various rooms that are happening. These are almost like live chat rooms. I like to think of it as an interactive podcast or almost like a breakout virtual conference room where it's very niche specific topics that you can learn more about, and you can like leave quietly. You can like pop in and out of rooms as you scroll the hallway. At the very top, you'll see upcoming events. So we'll learn more about that section in just a second. We'll go over where the search bar is, how to find invites, because you do need an invite to actually get on the app. And then you as a new user get one invite as a new user. So you can invite somebody right away when you get on the app, you get one new invite. And then there's a calendar feature, which we'll talk about as well, your notifications, profile, how to start a room, how to create a club, active clubs, active online, like who's currently active online, and then who's available to chat with you, where you can find your settings so you can set some healthy boundaries with the app, because we all know social media can be like a time suck. So we want to set those first. And then where to find your profile link, which is new. So there's a couple new things that we'll chat about as well that the app has released. And they're always constantly, like every month, they'll release a series of different updates within the app. So you can always, learn about the new updates as well. Okay, so this is what the hallway looks like. This is your main feed. And at the very top, this is where you can see like this darker gray box is where upcoming events, what the title it is and what they're going to be talking about. That's where you can kind of get like a bird's eye view of what's to come in the next like hour or two. And then at the very bottom, you'll see this start room button. This green button will allow you to start a room immediately. So you can start an open room, which means basically it's open to the public, everybody, or you can start a specific room inside of a club if you're already a part of one as already. And we'll get to what clubs are in a second. So as you can see, like there is various, couple topics already that I screenshotted. This one was about giving away a list. So this particular person had like 500 vendors, and you can see how many people are in the current room at the moment, 96 people. And then 19 people were on stage. So that's what that number means with the little chat bubble. And we'll get to that in a second. But we're going to move on. So moving forward, in that main hallway screen, you'll see at the top left a little magnifying box or magnifying icon. That's where you can actually search for people who are app users. So you can find somebody and follow them, or you can find a club. So there's a couple different ways to do that, and you can just tap on that icon. This email little letter icon is actually for where your invites are. So if you click on that, you can see how many invites you have, and it's all via your phone. So it's all based on like phone numbers. So if you don't have someone's contact number already programmed in your phone, I would say do that first. It makes it 10 times easier to invite somebody to the app if you already have their phone number programmed into your phone and saved. The next icon is the calendar icon. This will basically show you various different events that are coming up for you based on like who you follow and what clubs you follow. And then same for notifications. You can see like upcoming rooms. You get notified when people are scheduling rooms. You get notified when people start their rooms. So that's why it's key, and we'll talk about this in settings. Setting some healthy boundaries, turning off the notifications so you're not inundated with like Clubhouse notifications on your phone, because it does it gets overwhelming. So we'll talk about that. And then also the top right is where you'll find your profile, and you can set that up, add a picture. We'll go over all over the essential things that you need in your bio, so don't worry, we'll get to that in a second too. All right, and then from the hallway, if you swipe right, or if we go back a couple slides, this little, it's almost like an icon that has 9 little dots. Click on that, or you can swipe from right to left, and it will show you this preview of who's currently online that you follow, or current clubs that you're also a member of. So you can see this is actually the Women in Business Club. And at that time, there was like 2,700 people online. And then I can see everyone that I follow, and then they actually follow me back. I can see who's currently online. I can see the title of the rooms that they're in, or they're currently speaking in, or either actually you can see like if they're speaking, or if they're just listening into one of the rooms. So you'll get like a brief little preview of, okay, this person is listening to Why Is Your Voice, blah, blah, blah. So you can kind of almost like sneak in and see what people are listening in on. Sometimes I like to do that, and you can immediately join the room as well. But basically this section is for active clubs and active online followers. Then we're going to talk about the calendar icon. So once you tap into the calendar icon, this is where you can see upcoming events. Click on the upcoming events, and there's going to be a little drop down so you can get to your events. So that will be labeled My Events. Here is where you can schedule and edit rooms, meaning you can give rooms a specific title. We'll talk about this in a second too, but like your room title is key, because as people are scrolling through their hallway, you want to grab their attention. So making sure you title your rooms effectively to like catch as many eyeballs as possible, so that way they can tap in. And once you tap on an event that's already created, you can they'll give you 4 different options, 4 icons here. So you can share the event, you can share it to Twitter, you can copy the actual link or like URL to share in various different places, right? Email, newsletters, you can share it on Facebook, Instagram, you can do swipe ups on stories if you have that feature. This is just an awesome way to like share your room, and you can also add it to your calendar. So as someone who is, maybe could be potentially interested in your room, if you share the link with them, they will get prompted to, open the app, or they can add this particular event to their calendar. So pretty nifty little icons there that you can leverage to like promote and share your room. So that way you're maximizing as much exposure as possible. And we'll definitely talk about very strategic ways to get as many eyeballs as possible on your scheduled rooms on Clubhouse. Okay, so now let's talk about like different roles. So in a room, you have moderators, you have speakers, and you have audience members who are just there to listen, right? As a moderator, this is kind of like a sneak peek view. You have the ability as a moderator to make other people moderators, right? That you invite onto stage. You can mute others on stage. If for whatever reason, some people are new and they can't find the mute button, totally cool. There's an option. You can just click on their profile picture and you can mute them right away. If for whatever reason there's like background noise, it has happened to me. You can also, as a moderator, invite people onto the stage and approve speakers, meaning there's a little icon down here and you can see exactly who has raised their hand to speak. And you can, there's like a little plus button and you can like, basically that means like, yes, I want them to come on stage. You can also mute yourself, obviously, when you're not speaking, and then you can ping other people's in, which basically it's this little plus icon down here. And that means you're going to send notification to people who are currently online. And when they get that notification, it says, hey, Melissa is hosting a room right now on Launching with Paid Traffic. So that's another way to basically get more eyeballs on your room. Or you can leave quietly, which is this little peace sign. As a moderator, I wouldn't recommend that because then your room stays open if there's other people currently on stage with you. So you're going to have to tap these three little dots at the top right and then end the room. That's how you'll end the room, and it just closes altogether. Quick tip there. All right, so now we're going to look at the speaker view. So meaning you're an audience member and you're brought onto the stage, which is basically the very top section of the room. As a speaker, you have the ability to mute yourself, right? Ping other people. So you can also ping other people into the room, send them a notification basically, and you can raise your hand to speak. So say you got moved back to the audience, which that's a role that the moderator can do. You can also raise your hand again and you can go back on stage. Key tip here is when you're brought to stage, you're automatically unmuted. So make sure you mute yourself when you come up on stage. And this is the mute button here. You can unmute and mute yourself. And again, this is the same icon to ping others into the room. It's the same icon, whether you're a speaker, audience member, or a moderator. And then as an audience member or a speaker, you can always leave the room and you can do the peace out, leave quietly little icon. All right, so now we've covered moderators, speakers, and audience members. Again, as a quick note, as an audience member, no one can hear you. You'd have to physically like press the button, raise your hand, go up on stage. So as an audience member, you can literally just listen in. You know, you don't have to speak. You don't have to, they can't hear you, don't worry. And then you can always leave quietly and you can pop in and out of other rooms. Okay, now we're going to talk about clubs. Clubs are, I like to think of them like Facebook groups. So imagine if you could have started a Facebook group like 7 or 8 years ago when Facebook was brand new. Imagine how massive your Facebook group could potentially be right now, or even if you started like 5 years ago, right? So I like to think of them like that. It's a private community where you can reach a specific niche and new people. You can actually create a club within the app. You just have to go to your profile and you scroll to the very bottom. There's like a section of icons. And if you're not in clubs already, there's a little plus icon at the very bottom of your profile, and that's where you can create your brand new club. I will say though, you have to be basically an active member on the app, like an active user of Clubhouse, in order for your club to get approved. So meaning, let's just say you joined yesterday and you want to create your own club. Hold on a second. They want to make sure that you're actually moderating consistently for at least 3 weeks at a time. So give yourself like some time to like get adapted and immerse yourself into the app, then apply to your club once you've hosted like several rooms consistently for 3 weeks. Then your club is more than likely to get approved. So just a quick tip on that. But this is basically my club. I have the Female Marketers Club. We're actually at 6,000 members. Crazy. And we have 4,000 followers. So it's really important to know that when you follow a club, you're not necessarily a member yet. So it also depends on the club creator. So you as a club creator can set certain specific rules on what your members can do. Do you want your members to host their own rooms, like create their own rooms underneath your club? You can actually set that up ahead of time. So you're basically setting the rules for your club. And when you do get invited, or someone actually approves your membership, so you go from like a follower to a member, you will then be prompted to nominate other members. So you'll get this notification saying that you've been approved. Welcome to the female marketers community. Who else should join? Then you can nominate people as well. And then as a creator, you'll get a notification as well saying that so-and-so nominated these members. Do you approve? Yes or no? And then if someone invites you, so say I invite you to join the Female Marketers Club, you'll get a notification like this under your notification setting, and you can either join the club or you can just click it or ignore. So totally up to you, but I think clubs are an awesome opportunity to reach people outside of your IG bubble. I mean, that's in general how I feel Clubhouse is compared to Instagram. I have met so many people outside of my Instagram bubble. I've made connections, I've collaborated, I have hired off of Clubhouse. It's crazy. And actually said that I was hiring yesterday, a graphic designer. I had 4 applications come through. So Clubhouse is an amazing opportunity, not just to network, but also land paying clients and or patients. Okay. Club admin view. So here's just kind of like a sneak peek of what it looks like for me on my end as a club creator / admin. You can edit your club description, topics, and set rules. So basically what I was saying before, like, do you want people to host rooms inside of your club as a member? Or, I mean, there's some club admins that just literally don't approve any members and everyone just follows the club. And then they probably host public rooms, meaning these rooms are public, so anyone can join in regardless if they're a member or not. Doesn't really make sense to me. I think it's more strategic to like have as many followers become members, so that way the community is more active that way. So that's my honest opinion though. You can also invite others with a secret link. So I found this like a little loophole here. If you're for whatever reason out of invites as a club creator or admin, you have like 20 secret invites that you can basically share a link and you can send it to somebody. As you keep adding members, adding followers into members of your club, you'll get more opportunity to get like more secret invites as well. And then you can view nominated members, and you can also now share a direct link to your club, which is pretty cool. So it's basically on this main page, you hit the 3 dots there, and you'll be able to pull and copy a link so that way you can share it and people can find your club on Clubhouse. Same with your profile too, which I think we're going to talk about in a second. Yay. Okay, yeah. So link your profile. This is fairly new. It happened in the past month. I recently bought a .club domain, so I have 2, but now it's linked in my Twitter bio and my email signature. So this is just me being very strategic. Like, how can I get more people to know about Clubhouse, follow me over there? Well, I'm going to put it in as many places as I can. And I created an easy .club domain. So it's followmelissa.club. I can share that. It's actually in my Twitter bio right here. So followmelissa.club. It basically redirects to the Clubhouse bio URL. So quick little tip there. And I picked followmelissa.club because it's easy to remember when it's seen off the app or just heard in rooms, Okay. Clubhouse invites. So going back to like when we first went over all of the different icons that you see on your hallway, this is basically what it looks like when you do click on that icon and you have invites to share. So you'll see like, the amount of invites you have, and then you can start typing in names. And remember, these are people that are already programmed in your phone from your contacts. So as a newbie, you do have 1 invite immediately when you get invited to the app. as you use the app, you'll get and receive more invites. So even if you're just listening in on rooms and you happen to raise your hand a couple times, if you're consistent on the app and you're using it, you'll get more invites. And again, the pro tip that I have is programming everyone's number ahead of time on your iPhone so that way you can easily search for them and you can invite them that way. I do believe they recently changed that, so you can just type in somebody's number and you don't have to like program their name. But again, I think it's easier that way. All right, now we're going to chat about Clubhouse settings because like I mentioned in the very beginning, social media can be a huge time suck, right? I'm a mom, business owner, run an agency, have 2 full-time employees, 1 part-time. I literally cannot be on Clubhouse every single day, moment, hour. So this is where you're going to set some boundaries. You can pause notifications here. You can limit what rooms show up on your hallway by toggling this button over right here, this top one. Pause notifications here. You can say like pause them for the rest of the day. You can say pause them for the rest of the week. It will give you a couple different options. And then this is also where you can read up on their community guidelines, their terms of service, and their privacy policy, which every single app has. So if you're concerned for whatever reason, you know, what data are they collecting or what information am I sharing by being on the app, it's all laid out here. So there are literally no surprises, but definitely recommend setting up some boundaries, healthy boundaries, you know, be realistic with yourself. Can you really commit to hosting like 1 room a week or 2 rooms a week? I limit my rooms to be 1 hour max. You know, I have client calls that are scheduled on my calendar, so I cannot literally be in a room for hours on end. It's just not realistic for me. So don't feel like you need to spend all day on the app just to grow your followers. Or, I mean, there's literally so much power in having or hosting a small room with, you know, just like a couple people in the audience. Like if you're, you know, captivating the room and you're giving so much value, there's probably going to be people DMing you after that. All right, so we've chatted a little bit about a few terms already. Like we know that rooms are pretty much like live chats that are happening. We know what the hallway is now, which is basically the feed. We went over like mods or moderator, like mod for short, essentially. The stage was, again, where you brought people on stage, and that's anyone that can literally speak. Ping, we definitely talked about that one too. That is basically how you send a notification to others who are currently online. So PTR is a new one we're going to talk about. Pull to refresh is basically swiping down on the room that you're currently in, and it will refresh everyone who's on stage, because sometimes speakers go back to the audience, sometimes moderators leave or the moderators change. So you can always refresh the room and you can see basically like a new view of who's currently like on stage and in the audience. Reset the room is another term that people use because so many people are popping in and out of the actual room. You always kind of want to do like a quick refresh every 20 minutes. And basically just telling everybody, hey, this is what we're chatting about today. We've covered X, Y, and Z. Now we're going to move on to blank, right? So it's just kind of like setting the tone again, reminding everybody like what the topic at hand is, what you're discussing. So that's resetting the room. And then we chatted about clubs and being a club host. So you can, as a member in certain clubs, remember it kind of depends on what rules are set, but for the most part, if you're a member, most likely you'll probably be able to host rooms instead of a club. And you'll see that basically above your room title, and that's like your club host. And when you're scheduling your room, you can pick a club host as well. And then party hats. So let's see if I can find a party hat for you. One of these screenshots. So it's basically the party hat emoji will appear at the bottom left of your profile picture. That basically just means that you are new, and it goes away after 7 days. So I like to acknowledge party hats in my room and just, make them feel welcome. People, they want to feel welcome, especially if something's brand new to them. All right, so now we're going to get into the Clubhouse bio. So I like to call this a part of like Clubhouse Foundations. The bio, this is the Biotrifecta. this is my term I made up, but basically it's 3 key important things. First, the first 8 lines are imperative. And this basically is who you are, what you do, what makes you different or unique. And I say this because in an actual Clubhouse room, regardless if you're moderating, speaking, or in the audience, anyone can click on your profile picture and it will give them a snapshot, like a little preview of your bio. And that first quick snapshot is literally the first 3 lines of your bio. So it's key to have it filled out and have it say exactly these 3 things, you know, who you are, what you do, what makes you unique or different about like your service. That would be awesome to put in those first 3 lines. Also use keywords in the body of your actual like profile. And it's interesting because on Clubhouse, the bios are pretty much infinite. Like you can have as many characters as you want. It is HTML, so you can't literally hyperlink links inside of your bio, but you could almost treat it like a long form sales page. You can have as much information as you want, really. But you can also use key terms, and these are essentially searchable on the app, so you can kind of leverage like SEO type style tips. And then last but not least, linking your Twitter or your Instagram so that people can connect with you. So at the very bottom of your Clubhouse bio, right before or right above the clubs, and basically you can see like what clubs people are part of. That's where you'll find the Instagram and Twitter, and you can just tap on it and it'll take you to their Instagram or Twitter. But basically that is the only way people can connect with you off of the app. And that's what we're gonna talk about next when we talk about moderating, because it's really important for people to connect with you off of the app. All right, so this is a little snapshot of what my bio looks like for the most part. I think I'm at 5.5, but I think for the most part, it still looks like this. So I have like my I help statement at the very top. So it's like who I do or what I do, who I help, and how I help them essentially. And then I have some key terms or keywords here in this section. You know, I'm a mom, I'm a landlord, I'm an Enneagram 3, I'm a Facebook ad agency owner. I like to put some credibility there too. So I have been, you know, in certain media placements, so you can definitely showcase that there. Or if you're certified in XYZ, you can definitely leverage that too. I put a little blurb about like, invite me to host a room with you about all of these topics. And then I have also a little section about the Female Marketers Club. And then as you scroll to the very bottom, here's where you can have like a little call to action. So mine personally says DM me on Instagram to say hi. I use emojis and make it fun. And then I have my Twitter and my Instagram linked here because I do sometimes share the actual rooms that I'm scheduling to Twitter. And then at the very bottom, like we were saying, you can see what clubs you're actual members of. So the little club icons will show up here. Any clubs that you're an admin of typically show at the very beginning. So the FMC for me is always the very first one. And then this is new up here. This is where you can pull your profile link. So that link that I was telling you about earlier, and I connected it to basically set up a redirect to an actual domain so I can share the domain. That's where you can pull your actual profile link here for Clubhouse. And then you can go to settings as well. So that's the gear settings there. All right, so that's what our bio looks like. And we talked about the Biotrifecta. So that's like literally the very first thing that you can do after you set up your settings. So those would be my top tips, like set up your bio, do a profile picture, whatever handle you want. I like to just keep it the same. So that way people coming from Instagram can literally find me with the same handle on Clubhouse. And then filling out your bio, linking everything, and then setting up those settings, like setting some boundaries are key. All right, now that we went over the bio, the second part of the foundation for Clubhouse is a strategic following because you're gonna basically curate your feed, your hallway feed on specific rooms that you would be interested or that you would potentially want to speak in. All right, so here are some key tips. Don't just follow to follow or join those type of rooms. And FYI, those are banned on the app. They do not like follow for follow stuff, so they try to shut them down. would not recommend joining anything like that or following anyone and everybody on the app. That's not very strategic, right? Because you're here for a specific reason. You want to be intentional with your time on the app. So definitely follow people who inspire you, you want to learn from them, or you think they would be great like co-moderators or, you know, in a future collaboration together. Doing this, if you do the follow for follow, will clog up your feed with rooms that you have zero interest in. And then you can also, you know, like I was saying, follow who you'd like to connect with and possibly co-moderate with in the future. And then in your settings as well too, you can set up certain topics that you are interested in. So that's another option as well. If you kind of want to curate your feed for right away, you can do that as well. All right, so now we're going to go into the third part of the Clubhouse Foundation. So this is clubs and how to leverage them. We kind of went over it already, but so here are my tips. I say join as many relevant clubs as possible, right? Maybe you don't want to do too many at first because I feel like now that anybody can essentially create a club as long as they're consistent on the app. There's a lot of clubs out there, but join relevant clubs. This is a great way to reach new people. Again, people outside of your bubble that you're probably surrounded with on Facebook or Instagram. If you don't get added right away as a member, because remember you're following, like immediately you're a follower of the club. When you click follow, you're not a member. You can DM the club admin to approve your membership. This is just so manual at this moment. So meaning I have to manually like click on every person's name and approve them. So you can always reach out to them and it kind of speeds up the process. But again, following does not equal membership. You can create your own club via your profile at the very bottom in case you forgot. All right, so now we're going to talk about Clubhouse etiquette because there are some like things you do want to do on the app and things you want to avoid. So first we're going to talk about audience members and then speakers because audience members can also become speakers as well. So as a speaker, you don't have to really worry about anything as an audience member because you're literally on mute, you can't talk, you're listening, so you're golden. But as a speaker, you want to make sure that you're muted when you're brought to the stage. So, and then just unmute yourself when it's your turn to speak. Always add value or ask a question. Don't just raise your hand to like pitch your services or your business. It's just very salesy, right? We don't want to throw off anybody in or seem salesy. Practice a clear and concise intro, like 30, I want to say even less than 30 now, because most of the time these rooms are so packed and there's potentially a lot of people on stage wanting to ask a question. So as a moderator, somebody that has their like intro down in like 10 seconds or less, and then they can go immediately into the question means that we have more room and opportunity to serve as many people that are on stage wanting their questions asked. So be clear and concise with your intro. As a moderator, there's some etiquette as well. So personally, and then this is some of like my own personal like feelings too, but I like to open the room for questions. It's more interactive this way, meaning there are some rooms that literally don't open it up for questions. It's just the moderators talking to themselves. I like to open it up for questions. So that it's just more interactive this way, and you can connect with your community and your audience members too. So bring people up on stage. As they raise their hand, mute them if needed, or remind them where to find the mute button. There's new people joining the app every day. So, you know, there's bound to be somebody that's going to join your room that doesn't know where the mute button is. So give them some grace and then reset the room every 20 to 30 minutes. Turn off hand raising if you're running out of time, or if it gets out of hand, just be transparent and people understand. So meaning I say this because I actually was just inundated with like questions and people raising their hands, and there were so many people to get to, and we literally had to close the room out in like 10 minutes. So I just did a quick reset and I was like, all right, we have so many questions. We're trying to get to everybody. We are so sorry if we cannot get to you, but you know, we have to turn off hand raising at the moment. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to DM me, right? If we didn't get to yours. So that was kind of like my reset of the room at the very end. I was like, all right, just as a reminder, we have a hard stop in 10 minutes, we have to go. Okay, so now that we've talked about etiquette, we're gonna pivot a little bit into moderating like a boss. So I have a 4-step process. First step is to collaborate and consider a club host. So there's power in numbers, right? The more you collaborate and co-moderate with others allows this opportunity for you both to leverage each other's audiences, meaning your audience and their audience is going to get notified when you schedule a room. And then this leaves more opportunity for more eyeballs on your scheduled room. So consider a clubhouse as well. So that way you can actually like, you know, host a room inside of one of those niche specific clubs. Step 2 is scheduling your event in advance, meaning even if this room is happening today, in like 20 minutes, still schedule it because people are going to get notified. So again, it goes back to like those notifications. People are going to see that, you know, Melissa scheduled a room on sales funnels, right? So always schedule your event in advance. And this also allows for you to promote it, you know, in due time. So doing some prep work will definitely pay off here. So step 3 is having a captivating room title. I like to think of this as an email subject headline. So being very strategic with how you title your rooms will allow more people to tap in, meaning that they're actually, you know, they're interested. And oftentimes I hear people say, I was so intrigued by the room title, I had to tap in and see what you guys were chatting about. So having a captivating room title is key. And then the last step is providing value in some sort of call to action. We'll get into the call to actions too. So basically just listed everything out that I just talked about. But here's a little refresher. And then I actually schedule everything in advance, and I have a specific page dedicated to Clubhouse rooms. I kind of basically made it look like a Linktree page, but it's hosted on Squarespace, which is my website. So it looks exactly like Linktree, but all the buttons basically is the date and the room title. And then my assistant. So what I do on my end is that I add all the rooms that I scheduled to my Google Calendar. My assistant then goes into my Google Calendar, will pull the URL to that specific room, and we'll link it directly in that specific web page. So it's a great way to just kind of like house everything in one. All right, and then we went over these tips. We're good there. And again, some other moderating tips is just, you know, turn off hand raising if the room gets out of control. Keep speakers on topic. Some people are very long-winded and they will tell your life story. So you might have to remind them, like, hey, what was your question again? Or, you know, what's your value add? Because some people will just straight up pitch their services. So you might have to like report them, or I just like tap on their profile and I just move them back to the audience, you know? So be on guard. You can always report people if they're spamming your room. Mute people on stage if needed. You can always move speakers back to the audience, report speakers who spam your room, and then always give value. All right, now we're going to talk about maximizing visibility. So we talked about the first step already, using a club to host your room, collaborating with other moderators. And then the third piece of this puzzle is literally sharing your event on other platforms, because people are not going to know about your room unless you talk about it, right? It's a very similar thing about, like, you know, people aren't going to be aware of what you have to offer unless you talk about your offer, talk about your services. No one's going to know about it unless you talk about it. So this is the 3 key pieces to maximize like your visibility and exposure on the app. So these are also some other tips that I have listed here. I like to schedule everything ahead of time. I share screenshots on social media of the actual event. So I'll screenshot the calendar event that I have scheduled, and then I'll tag the club if they have an Instagram handle. So the Female Marketers Club has an Instagram handle. You can tag us at Female Marketers Club, and we will share your room. So that just means more eyeballs on your scheduled room, which is awesome, right? Any extra exposure is amazing. Sharing links on Facebook in Facebook groups, sharing on Twitter, using a host club, using a co-host to leverage each other's audience. The mutual followers, the better, right? So meaning you you follow them, they follow you back. That allows you to ping them into the room, which is my last tip, ping others online, making sure everyone possible is notified. All right, so now this is the fun part. We're getting into the conversion techniques. All right, so I have some DM scripts here, but basically you want to leverage that call to action at the very end. So here's an example one that I have. If you're loving this conversation, please follow me and click the bell to get notified when I'm hosting rooms. Also, if you'd like to connect on Instagram, DM me Clubhouse, and I'll send you my free checklist. So that's a call to action that I've used before, and it's a great way to grow your list. So if you have some sort of lead magnet or freebie, free download, free guide, free meal plan, whatever you have, you can offer that as some sort of lead magnet to grow your email list. So this is just, you know, me being strategic and teaching you ways to build leads for your business and grow your email list, because we all know that we don't actually own anything on social media, the traffic, the followers, we literally don't own that. And sometimes Instagram is down. So you don't want to rely on social media. It's a great way to generate leads for your business, but you want to get them to the next step, which is inside of your funnel. And then if you have a co-moderator, I like to say that they're like your wingman, right? So like they're your hype girl. If you're loving the value that Melissa is bringing today, please give her a follow and click the bell next to their profile picture to get notified when they're hosting rooms. So you can just kind of like, you know, interact with each other, hype each other up, and don't forget that call to action. All right, I promise we're almost done, but these are kind of some predictions that I personally have for Clubhouse. So this is already happening. Influencers are getting paid to speak on topics on Clubhouse because of the following they have. You could be seen as one too. Obviously, if you're a business owner, you have a practice, you can collaborate with certain brands that will only help, you know, maximize the visibility of your own business, which would be amazing. I like to use a pitch template and pitch to brands to collaborate with, and then include my media kit. So just goes to, you know, just shows them like, hey, I'm serious about this. I want to partner with you. And I've also been featured in X, Y, and Z. I personally think that the app will have to monetize sooner or later. Right now, they're actually letting some creators monetize already. So like there's a way to like tip creators. Only certain creators have this feature, but we could potentially be seeing paid rooms soon. I almost like to think of this as possibly like boosting your room so that way you can get more eyeballs on your room. Obviously, this is my prediction, so not sure if it's going to happen, but I see the potential here because people are already getting paid to moderate rooms, especially if they have a large following. And the app is supposed to go public for Android. We don't know when that's happening. They said March, didn't happen. They just keep saying soon, so we'll see. But there has been numerous bugs and glitches. So by all means, if that means like a better version of the app for Android, I'm all for it. All right, and that is the end of my presentation. Brittany, you can come back now. Oh, I cannot hear you. Hold on. There you go.
There we go. That was amazing. I love that you walked us through the app. We got such a kind of comprehensive introduction to it. I know that I'm on there, but you know, when I was just kind of got my invite and I signed up, it's kind of fumbling through and I joined a couple of rooms, but I really didn't know what I was doing. And you've given me a whole different perspective on how you can really use this platform to be an expert in your field. So whatever you're specializing in and whatever industry you're in, you really have an opportunity to get in at the beginning. As we were on here, I did a quick Google search just for anyone who's curious and listening to this. Clubhouse has been around since April of 2020. So it's obviously starting to kind of pick up steam and we're hearing a little bit more about it, but it's about a year old. So in the grand scheme of things, it's a baby. So we have a really good opportunity to get on there. So yeah. I think this is such a good opportunity. You were so comprehensive in what you covered. I loved that you gave us some ideas on how we can collaborate with people and start to diversify our audience, because that can be really tricky on some of the other forms of social media that we're using, you know, especially with those tricky algorithms that everyone's always trying to figure out and get on top of. With Instagram, oftentimes it's the same audience seeing you over and over again. So it's very hard to grow. So what's your thoughts on, you know, if we were to compare with something that maybe more people are on, like Instagram versus Clubhouse, how have you noticed a difference in terms of growth for your profiles on each platform when it comes to, you know, putting out value add content?
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, just the fact that like my following was able to grow so quickly, and that was not something that I was specifically looking for on the app. I was just trying to make as many connections as possible. Obviously, that first month you're just like inundated with like room requests and like mod with me, you know, and I said yes to a lot of things. So it was on a lot that first month, but I mean, I grew, I mean, just to 5K within like 4 months. So I mean, the opportunity to actually grow is huge on Clubhouse compared to like Instagram. Like my Instagram was slow growing. I think it took me to get to 5K, it was like 10 months. So I feel like it condenses also the conversion time too. So like I was saying, after an hour, I would host a room. One of my clients is an attorney. And after an hour of literally just talking about trademarks, she had 12 inquiries like in her DMs, like people asking to work with her. And then she had like 6 people like literally go to her website and fill out a form. And then she had 30 new Instagram followers. And I forget how many Clubhouse followers she got just from that 1 hour, but like literally it can condense the conversion time to 1 hour versus, you know, if you think in traditional marketing aspect, it could take a week, 2 weeks, a month to convert somebody. But like somebody that is connected with you in a room, it's like an intimate experience, and they're getting to learn with you, you know, offhand right there, and get their get their questions answered. I said that backwards, but yeah, it's like an amazing opportunity to just land clients, make collaborations, connections, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so what comes to mind when I'm hearing you talk about it is that this is an app that is a little bit more geared towards the entrepreneur and business owner right off the hop. Like Instagram obviously didn't start that way, and it's really shifted and become that, but you're pulled in a lot of different directions when you're on Instagram. You know, there's so many different people who are using it for personal, for business, that this seems to be a little bit more like a destination where people are going to learn and to get value add content. So you really have that opportunity to be the expert here. And I just, you know, not that this is a comparison simply to Instagram, this is just what people are familiar with. Instagram, it's hard to hold people's attention because you've got the stories and you've got reels and you've got all these different things that are competing for it. Whereas now you can hop in a room, try it out. If you don't like it, try something different. So, I mean, I love it. I think, how many times have I been listening to a podcast and been so engaged in the conversation that I'm like wanting to join in and hop in. And now it's kind of like you have an opportunity to do so. So yeah, I loved everything that you shared today. I'm definitely like itching to get back in there and play around a little bit more from this new perspective. So thank you so much for sharing that with us today. Did you have any other kind of last bits of pieces for our audience? Anything else to share with them?
I mean, would love to have you, if you're a female and you want to learn more about marketing and just growing your business in general, Female Marketers Club, follow us on Instagram, and then also join the club. We'd love to have you.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. We will leave a link, if you have one, Melissa, in our YouTube description so you can easily find Melissa after this. But thanks so much for joining us.